On the day my dad, the Don of the Capone family, comes to the orphanage to take me home, I show up in a tactical helmet and a bulletproof vest. I'm not going home with you. You're definitely doing this to trick me into getting married to a perverted old geezer in a marriage alliance. I bet my adopted sister has made preparations to start fake crying anytime by loading up on her eye drops. My dad is amused, to say the least. Why would any of that happen? Sylvia is nothing but welcoming you to our home. Also, our family isn't a lowly organization that deals with human trafficking, but I refuse to believe my dad at all. On the way home, I keep typing something on my phone. My mom, the Donna, leans over curiously. Are you writing a diary entry? Nope. I'm writing tips on how to survive the mafia. 1. My food will definitely be poisoned. 2. If I get close to a staircase, it'll definitely get pushed down the stairs. 3. You'll get framed for something that I've never done before. My parents swear to me that none of the things I've written will ever happen. They tell me that my adopted sister, Sylvia Capone, has a great personality, and things are amicable in the family. However, everything changes when Sylvia brings me a glass of juice before lunchtime and insists on watching me drink it. Instead, I dump the juice into a nearby vase of flowers, just as my parents are about to scold me for wasting the juice. Smoke begins drifting from the flowers inside the vase, then, they start wilting rapidly. I calmly leave a bright red checkmark behind the poison tip. As my parents stare at the dead flowers, they can feel color draining from their faces. You should send the juice to a chem lab for analysis. Chapter I still hadn't received the test results when Sylvia Capone, my adopted younger sister, suddenly broke down in tears. I'm so sorry, Rosina, she sobbed. I truly mistook the bleach for honey. I was just trying to sweeten your juice. I didn't mean for this to happen. It was such a poor excuse that even a young child would have seen through it. After all, bleach and honey were completely different, both in smell and appearance. Yet, despite all of that, Mama and Papa still chose to believe Sylvia. Mama, feeling distressed, helped Sylvia to her feet and affectionately wiped away her tears. I know you have a good heart. This was just an accident. I'm sure you wouldn't do anything to hurt Rosina, Papa sighed, turning to look at me. It was a misunderstanding. Rosina, let it go. Sylvia has been frightened enough. You shouldn't conduct yourself like a street thug anymore since you've returned to the famiglia. Mama eyed my thick bulletproof vest with pure disdain. You should also get rid of that junk you're wearing. You shouldn't be dressed like that in your own home. You're making it seem as if the Capone famiglia's security measures are inadequate. I brushed off her request. Instead, I took out my phone and opened How to Survive the Mafia. I checked the box next to the poisoning entry and added a side note. It seems like the enemy excels at deception. It is highly effective against biased parents. I skipped lunch entirely because of the poisoning attempt, bringing the meal to a sudden end. By dinner, I had learned my lesson. I brought out some canned food I had prepared beforehand, along with a professional-grade toxin scanner to check for any contaminants. It was then that a striking young man in a bespoke suit walked through the door. He was Carlo Bolani, the successor to the Bolani famiglia and the fiancé Papa had chosen for his principessa. Carlo was originally supposed to marry Sylvia, but the engagement had been switched to me. He walked through the door and caught sight of me with the canned food. He immediately sneered and said, "This is precisely what one would expect from a slum dweller. Despite returning to the famiglia, you're still stuck with your taste for trash." I paid no attention to his ridicule and continued eating my cold canned food. Upon seeing this, Sylvia placed a steak on my plate and said, "This is our private chef's specialty. Rosina, you should give it a try. It's not poisoned or anything." I looked down at the steak, took out the professional-grade toxin scanner, and tested the food right in front of the entire famiglia. Carlo suddenly slammed his hand on the table and rose to his feet. "Haven't you had enough? Rosina, how dare you behave in such a manner when Sylvia was kind enough to share her steak with you? How